If you're thinking about moving to Kansas City, you've probably heard it's one of the more affordable big cities in the US. But what does affordable actually mean? Are we talking about cheap housing, low grocery bills, or is it one of those places that seems affordable until you get here and then you realize it all adds up?
In today's video, we're breaking down the real cost of living in Kansas City, not just the numbers you find in a quick Google search, but what people actually pay here in 2025. We'll talk housing, utilities, groceries, transportation, and even the hidden costs that most people forget to budget for. By the end, you'll know exactly what it would take for you and your lifestyle to feel comfortable here.
And just so you know, we live here, work here, and help people relocate here all the time. So you're not just getting the stats, you're getting the real story.
Let's start with housing, which is usually the biggest expense. Buying a home in the KC Metro right now means looking at median prices around $295,000 to $310,000. That's a solid bit below the national median, which sits closer to $425,000. With a standard 20% down payment and current interest rates, your monthly mortgage payment, including principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, will likely fall between $1,600 and $1,800 a month.
If you're thinking about renting instead, expect to pay between $1,100 and $1,400 a month for a one-bedroom apartment, especially in popular neighborhoods like the River Market or the Crossroads. If you head further out to places in the suburbs like North Kansas City, Gladstone, or Liberty, rents for one bedrooms drop closer to $900 to just over $1,000, where two-bedroom apartments can usually range between $1,200 and $1,700, and sometimes even a little higher depending on location and amenities.
Some newer complexes in higher desired areas like Liberty can push closer to $2,000 a month for a one-bedroom, but there are still plenty of more affordable options if you don't want to spend quite that much. The bottom line, Kansas City gives you a lot more space and value for your money compared to most coastal cities where rent and home prices can be double or even triple what you'd pay here.
This next section may sound a little bit boring, but utilities are an important monthly cost to keep in mind, especially because Kansas City has hot summers and cold winters. On average, you can expect your electric and gas bills to be between $160 to $220 a month, with higher costs during the summer when the AC is running and in the winter when you have the heat on. Because we get all four seasons here, you'll find the vast majority of places have central air and heat. We've had some clients move from other parts of the country where this really wasn't as common because of the climate, but here it's rare to find a place that doesn't have both.
Our summers and winters usually have a week or two each year where the temperatures can feel a bit extreme in either direction. It's not uncommon for us to have a week or two in the winter where temperatures are in the single digits or even dipping down into the negatives. And in the summer, we may have a week where temperatures are right up near 100 degrees or more. Utility costs during these months can feel a little out of control, but things really do balance back out during the more moderate months of the year.
Water, sewer, and trash typically add another $80 to $120 in monthly spend, and internet usually costs between $60 and $80. All told, most people spend somewhere between $300 and $500 a month for utilities, depending on the size of your house, of course, and how much energy you use.
Groceries in Kansas City usually run close to the national average, maybe even a little bit cheaper. Things like a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, and even a dozen eggs will usually set you back about $2 to $3. Chicken breasts typically go for about $3.50 to $4 a pound. For a family of four, it's realistic to budget between $600 and $800 a month for groceries.
If you're single or you don't have kids, you can usually expect to spend somewhere between $250 and $450 per month, depending on how you like to shop and eat. Here in Kansas City, we have some more local grocery chains like Hy-Vee and Price Chopper, and these things are really great for name brand products and for things like meat and produce. You will pay a little bit more here though than you will at a store like Aldi or Walmart. So if you're looking to save a little bit of money, shopping at these more budget-friendly options, especially for essentials like milk and eggs, bread, cheese, where brand doesn't really matter as much, it can really help. We also have places like Sam's Club and Costco here, so you can buy in bulk too.
Eating out is tempting here because the food scene is incredible. It seems like the cost for a meal, even at a fast food restaurant, has gone up fairly significantly recently, and we've definitely seen the same thing here in KC. You can grab a casual meal at a local barbecue spot for $13 to $15 a person. If you're looking for a nicer sit-down dinner with drinks, expect to pay around $25 to $40 per person. And honestly, if you're a barbecue fan, budgeting a little extra for those burnt ends is probably a smart move.
Kansas City is still very much a car-centric city. So even though there are some public transit options, you're still probably gonna wanna get a car to get around most places. Gas prices right now are right about $3 $3 to $3.20 a gallon, and car insurance costs can vary, but you can usually expect to pay somewhere between $90 and $140 a month. When you factor in things like maintenance and registration, average monthly costs come to about $50 to $75 if you take it and spread it out all the way over the 12 months of the year, depending on what kind of car you drive, of course, and how often you need to get it serviced.
Public transit options are a little limited compared to other major cities, but what we do have is pretty affordable. The KC streetcar is actually free to ride, and city buses have been fare free since 2020. But unless you live or work along those main routes, chances are you'll need a car to get around comfortably.
All right, taxes aren't the most exciting topic, but they are a fact of life here. Missouri's state income tax tops out about 5%. So if you make about $60,000 a year, that means that roughly 5% of that's heading to Jefferson City. To put that into perspective, that's about the price of a decent Chiefs game ticket. But at least you're helping to keep the city's parks and fountains looking good.
If you're looking on the Kansas side, their state income tax is a bit higher, topping out at near 5.7%. It's not a huge jump, but you'll definitely notice it after a few paychecks. Property taxes in that area are fairly reasonable compared to some other places, running about 1% of your home's value each year. So if your house is worth $300,000, expect to pay around $3,000 annually. There are definitely areas where property taxes exceed that 1% rule, but that can generally get you pretty close. That money helps to fund local schools and keep neighborhoods well maintained.
Sales tax varies depending on where you shop, but you'll usually pay between 8 and 9.5%. So yes, that barbecue sauce you bought, that has sales tax too.
Healthcare costs here in Kansas City generally line up pretty close to the national average. What really matters is the insurance plan you choose and how much you're willing to pay out of pocket. If you get insurance through your employer, you can expect to pay somewhere around $400 to $600 a month for a family plan, or about $150 to $250 for an individual plan. Co-pays for doctor's visits or prescriptions typically fall between $20 and $40. One thing that surprises many people moving here is that compared to some bigger cities, your premiums might actually be lower, which means you have more money left over for barbecue, Chiefs games, or whatever else you enjoy.
Now here's where some people get caught off guard. Those extra expenses that don't always show up in the initial budget. If you're buying a home in certain neighborhoods or you're buying a condo, you might have to pay a homeowners association fee. This can range anywhere from about $50 to $200 a month, and sometimes even more depending on the community you're moving into.
Then there's the cost of maintaining your property. If you don't want to handle the snow removal or lawn care yourself, hiring someone to take care of those tasks can add around $30 to $60 per visit. It's something to keep in mind, especially during the winter and summer months.
Entertainment is another factor that can add up, but thankfully, Kansas City offers a really good mix of options. Tickets to see the Chiefs, for example, can range from about $120 to $300 for decent seats. But this doesn't include parking. One parking pass to a Chiefs game will set you back another $60. Royals games tend to be a bit more affordable, both in terms of ticket price and parking, so they're a great option if you're looking to spend a little less.
Plus, there are plenty of free festivals and events around town that help balance out your entertainment budget. Here's the part that usually seals the deal for people. Compared to cities like Denver, Dallas, or Nashville, Kansas City's overall cost of living is about 10 to 20% lower. And compared to places like LA, San Francisco, or New York, housing cost alone can be cut in half or even more. That means that many people are moving here and instantly getting more space, better neighborhoods, and shorter commutes, all without needing to increase their income.
So how much does it actually cost to live in Kansas City? If you're single, you can usually live comfortably on about $45,000 to $55,000 a year. For a family of four, somewhere around $80,000 to $90,000 a year gives you room for a mortgage, bills, savings, and some fun money. But keep in mind, it does depend on your lifestyle. You can live here on less if you keep things simple, or you can splurge a bit and still spend less than you would in a lot of other major cities. If you're thinking about making a move to Kansas City, we help people relocate here all the time, and we would love to help you too. You can find all of our contact info right down below in the description of this video, including a link to book a quick call with us. Click the link and we'll chat soon.